Hi, how's it going today? And welcome to Ghost News Network. We are in the end of
March,
and we are got a great show line ahead of us for today. And yeah, so if you don't know, I'm Dimitri Haratos with
Michael Carnito.
And today we have a bunch of things we're going to talk about. Obviously, we're going to talk about what's new with Long Island Paranormal Investigators. We have our Urban Myth and Legend, which this week is going to be Five Corners Cemetery. We have our definition of the week. We're going to talk about automatic writing. Equipment review. We're going to be discussing the barometer. We have a paranormal article about a spooky small town in Connecticut. And we are going to be doing a spotlight on our tech department tonight. And we also have a EVP that we're going to play from Five Corners Cemetery. So, Mike, let's start with what's new with Lippy.
Jeez. Something's always new. We're actually in the process of getting some new equipment, adding another EMF meter, or replacing kind of. We're retiring the EMF end zone. It's a beginner level, like super beginner level piece of equipment. It's like $12, and it's not 100% accurate. So we feel that we're going to replace it with something extremely similar. I don't know the exact name. Order off of eBay. It's about $60. It's got all the same ranges as the EMF end zone. Obviously the same theory. So we're excited about doing that. We've been talking about doing this for about a year now. So we're finally doing that. It's ordered. We're adding another ambient thermometer to our mix. It's very similar to our TH28 thermometer, which detects ambient temperature as well. This one does temperature, relative humidity, and also detects the dew point, which is really important when trying to find cold spots. So that's pretty good. What else we got? Static pods. We found a really good deal on lessemf.com. You get 6 of them for, I think it's like $40, which is a really good deal. So we're going to test them out, and if they're really good, we'll definitely spread the word, because I think 6 pods for $40 is like
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
And then we're doing some research and adding to it's like those Christmas laser lights that you put in front of your house, and it shows like all the dots, kind of like a laser grid. We're going to be testing one of those out, seeing how well that works in the field. I know some people have been using those probably over the past few years, so we're just curious to see how well they really work. So we're doing that, and we also are picking up something called thermal paper. It's a control object, kind of the same concept as if you lay down baby powder on a table, and there's like handprints that appear on the ground, footprints appear, however you want to do it. It's basically the same concept. What will happen is if a handprint appears on the baby powder, instead of putting baby powder down, you put this thermal paper down. Once the handprint hits, it stays. It basically tells you the temperature. It's a lot easier cleaning up than baby powder. And the pre-clean up when using baby powder as well. So we're excited to use that. And that's cheap. I think it's like what, $7 a sheet.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's really cheap. We're probably going to get like maybe 6 or 7 sheets, run them down the line, and see if you can, especially if people are hearing footsteps down the hallway, you can lay this thing right down the hallway and see if you can get the footsteps. What happens is once it imprints on the thermal paper, it like holds the imprint. It doesn't just disappear. So it's really cool.
Yeah, you have to like wash it off in order to get rid of the imprint and reset it.
Well, we're really excited about the new equipment. We also have an investigation that we're doing at Oliver House, which we're really excited for. So we'll definitely, once that's completed, we'll talk more about our investigation there. It was on Paranormal Lockdown, new show on TV, which is really good. Different concept from everything else. They actually stay on site. I think it's for like, 72
hours, yeah.
Sleep at the location, which it's a theory I always have, where you go to a location and pass out for an hour or two.
Yeah.
See what happens. Because a lot of times with homeowners, this is the time stuff happens, when they're sleeping. So you want to try to make the whole environment the same as if it was when the homeowners were there. So I think it's a really good concept, and that's also, I think they said on the TV show, that's when you're most vulnerable, is when you're asleep.
Right.
So it definitely brings a whole different concept into the field. So it's definitely interesting. It's a great show. I watched a few episodes. They definitely have a lot of balls. I'll definitely give them credit on that because they don't. It's not like they sleep in the same room. Like they just did some asylum somewhere, and one person was on the 4th floor, and the other person was like in the basement. I'm like,
not even near each other.
Oh man, that's bold. Like it's one thing if it's a house, you're so close, but something like an asylum like that.
Oh my god.
I don't know, man. That's I give them a lot of
going solo in an asylum for
I don't know.
any number of hours, even though they're on the 4th floor, it's still you're not running to them quickly.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I know if I were to sleep, I'd be staying up for days prior.
So you
But
could.
make sure when I fall asleep, nothing is waking me up. So
Yeah.
I mean that's pretty much what we got going on. We have a couple trips coming up. I think we're booking Gettysburg sometime in April. We have our normal camping trips in May and August this year.
Lake George. Yeah.
There's a Lake George. Yeah, I mean we have that's gonna be in May and August, and then we might do something in October. I know some people want some Lizzie board.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. But that's what we got so far.
Yeah.
Oh,
And inside the group, we're expanding. We're doing more stuff here. We're creating new departments and stuff. I'm starting to research and document and create a group for cryptozoology here, so that we can, go look for the Jersey Devil
let's see what happens.
or the Mothman here on Long Island.
Yeah.
See if we can find the real Montauk Monster somewhere. So a lot of stuff going on. Alright, so to move ahead, jump forward, we're going to do our urban myth and legend, and we're going to be discussing Five Corners Cemetery. So now a brief history about Five Corners Cemetery. It was also known as the Lake Ronkonkoma Cemetery. It was established back in 1862. There are many locals buried in the location, such as Newton, Hawkins, Agnew, and Taylor. All those families. This cemetery is known to house many war veterans, dating all the way back to the Civil War. Although there is no history that actually took place on the property itself, it seems to attract a lot of paranormal activity. I know we've had a number of different experiences there.
Yeah, definitely. Haunted history. There have been a lot of claims of paranormal activity and personal experiences at Five Corners Cemetery. The claims include shadow people, unexplainable noises, cold spots, uneasy feelings, balls of light, and shirt pulling or touching. There have been apparitions seen by neighbors living around the cemetery and also by our investigators as well. Our psych department feels as though there is more going on beyond the fence in the back of the cemetery, but nothing's been confirmed yet. Yeah, I mean, bless you.
Thank you.
We've definitely had our fair share of experiences there, EVPs, visual stuff. It's been pretty good to us over the years. We've hit the location probably over 20 times. And not every time we investigate we get something. Many times we go there we don't get anything. But there have been occasions where we did pick up EVPs. And some of it seems to be more intelligent than residuals. So it's definitely a cool place
We've
to
seen
check
some
out.
shadow people there too, a couple times.
Yep, absolutely. So, but yeah, I mean that's Five Corners.
It's not a big location either.
No.
It's not. It's
like an L shape too.
yeah. Yeah.
It's like around like they had there's a church that sits there. The cemetery goes down and then around.
Yeah, around the church.
It's a cool place. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. We've had some interesting things over the years there. And you'll hear one of them later when we play our EVP for you guys. Next is our definition of the week, and today's definition is automatic writing. And what that basically is it's the ability to write intelligible messages without conscious control of what is being written, often used in conjunction with trying to channel a spirit or entity into yourself. Now, I have to say, this can be very dangerous. So, as is with controlling or channeling any type of methods, whether it's a Ouija board, crystals, anything like that, what you're basically doing is you're opening a doorway to yourself, and you have no control over who or what may come through. and then once you're done, there's no way to be sure that you made it leave and that you closed the door properly. So, I know a lot of people, they kind of laugh at the Ouija board and stuff like that, but, not. I always say, Bic's not out to get you, but you do these things, and it's not necessarily the items in which you're using, it's the frame of mind in which you're putting yourself and your body. So, as a rule, I tend to say to stay away from it. But, I know there are plenty of people out there that tell you, they have tons of experience, they know exactly what they're doing, and God bless you if you do. I could never be so confident. So, it's, I don't know. That kind of stuff scares me. So
Yeah, that's really
I'm good on whole Ouija boards and automatic writing and stuff like that. I don't need any. I can barely control myself some of the time. I don't want anybody else doing it.
There you go.
So that's our definition of the week for automatic writing. Next we have up our equipment review, and Mike's going to talk about the barometer.
Yeah, barometer, something very basic and simple to use. I feel like it's definitely a piece of equipment that not a lot of groups use, and I don't know why. Because there are many times where you feel a pressure change. You feel it, your ears pop, or you feel it in your sinuses. You feel that pressure drop, but there's no way to detect it. So, and this is what kind of what caused us to get the barometer. We're at a location, Sancta Costa Manor, in the cemetery over there, and it was me and two other investigators, and we're in the middle of the cemetery, and two of them felt like we should go more towards the left and towards the back. So we did that, and as we did that, we felt literally the pressure drop. All three of us felt it, like our ears popped, and we felt it like in your nose. And that's one of the theories of paranormal activity. When a ghost or apparition, whatever you want to call it, manifests, it creates a pressure change, whether it be an increase or decrease in pressure. And that kind of is what sparked the idea to get a barometer. So that's what we did. We picked one up, and we haven't really gotten much on it since we've had it, to be honest. But it's not something that happens all the time.
Right.
This isn't an exact science. I feel that depending on what level the spirit entity is coming in at and how much energy it's being able to take in and use is going to define what is being the output, whether it be EMF or pressure decrease or increase, static electricity charge. There's a lot of factors to play with, and people don't realize that. So
it's weather conditions too can help control.
Absolutely.
Can have a factor in what they're using to manifest.
Prime example was today. This is why it's important to know your environment and surroundings before using any equipment that you use. Like for instance, barometer. We live on Long Island, so today there was a low pressure system that was moving away from us. What happens is when that low pressure system, which is a storm, moves away, the pressure starts to increase. Now, if you're out in the field and you don't know this, and all of a sudden, bam, this thing starts shooting up, you're going to think it's paranormal. It's really not. It's just a low pressure system moving away. So you really have to know your basics. That's why I say, like, when people say that paranormal investigators are not scientists, I call bullshit.
Right.
Because if you're scientific and using the equipment properly and you're going through the studies and checking out your environment before you investigate, I mean, you're doing, you're getting you're collecting all this data, and
you're coming up with a baseline.
Yeah, I mean, so.
And especially if you're doing field reports and you're going back and looking at everything, you can see what commonalities are, what differences there are, and stuff like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so, I mean, the barometer is very basic. Like I said, the theory is that when a ghost manifests, it's going to either have an increase or decrease in pressure. It's going to create that. So having a barometer will be able to detect that. They're not expensive. You can get a cheap one. We have a barometer that's analog. I think it was like maybe between $30 and $45. It's on our website. Again, we got it on eBay. They're very inexpensive. Digital ones may cost a little bit more, but either one would be fine. Like I said, it's a good start if you just started a paranormal group and you want something very simple and basic to use. Something it's cheap, it's not expensive. Doesn't I know the one that we have doesn't need batteries, so it's a huge bonus. The cost is very low. What's my guys. So true.
The more stuff you use, the better off you're going to be in having a complete investigation.
Exactly.
So if you account for everything, then when you do get something paranormal, then you got better backing behind you. All right, next we have our paranormal article, and we're going to talk about just this little small town in Connecticut. And when I say small, it's not because the town itself is small; it's because the buildings are. This is Little People's Village in Middlebury. If you go on Google Maps, look for a place called Humberfield Road.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna cut you off right there.
Yeah, go.
Don't
go.
even follow directions.
Don't.
Just no. Literally, we were gonna go there last trip.
Okay.
And our trip got canceled, but I was looking up the directions for this place, and when you follow the directions, like bring up like Google Maps.
Yeah.
Okay. Zoom in. Follow the directions that they're telling you to go, and you're gonna be like, "Yeah, okay, this is like a murder rape waiting to happen." Legit, like it literally tells you drive down this road, past. It looks like a driveway, but it's not. Literally, that's what they tell you to do, and then park at the dead end and get out and walk. Like, wait a minute, so you're telling me that to go down this road? It's a road. It's not the person's driveway. Don't worry about them. Park and then get out and walk a quarter mile. Like, yeah, okay, all right.
That's what it says here. It says the road is quiet and innocent.
Yeah.
There aren't any signs posted, so you're free to visit. At the end of the road, where it transitions from street to woods, you take a short hike straight to the village. Supposedly, it's just a collection of stone doll houses.
Yeah.
They say they weren't built for dolls. It's tucked in the middle of the woods. They say that this place was built to house demons.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Legend has it that a couple from Middlebury lived alone, not too far from the site, when the wife began to see what she believed to be as fairies. So she demanded her husband build the houses in the woods for them. So, yeah. And then they say that it was clear that the small folk that lived there had evil intentions. The man began to hear the voices of the little people who demanded he build more and more homes for them. As they gathered, the negative energy increased, eventually driving the man to kill himself.
Great.
So, they say that others come to sit on the throne, thought to be built for the king of the little people. Legend says if you sit there, you will die 7 years later. Whatever you believe, this place is crazy. I mean, I got this information. If you guys want to check it out, it's called Only in Your State. It's a great website. And you can go to any state, and it'll tell you about all these weird little places. So we got this from that. I think it was originally posted on our Facebook page. And I thought it was really interesting, and I wanted to talk about it. And if you go to our Facebook page, we have it up there. You can find it. Yeah. So supposedly it housed... I mean, demons and fairies aren't necessarily the same thing, but...
Sorry, question.
Yeah. Answer. No fucking way.
The throne, so you sit on it.
I'm the wrong person to ask. I take from every site that I've ever visited. I like to bring rocks home with me.
Yeah, bring one
From sites. Yeah, I'm not bringing it home. Maybe I'll take a brick. No, I'm kidding.
Would you sit the throne?
Probably, because I'm not a superstitious person.
My simple answer is no. Fuck that shit. There's enough things to kill me in this world. I don't need to add another. That's my motto.
It's a good motto.
That's it. Go with that shit.
We also have discussions all the time about like, how recent is too recent to do an investigation.
Oh yeah.
Which is another question that we always like to ask, and since I brought it up,
Sure.
we'll talk about it. My thing is, anything that passed away before I was born is fair game for me. Anything outside of my generation is kind of like my line.
Okay.
That's just a personal thing. Like anything before before the 80s and back, basically.
Before the 80s. Yeah, I feel like... but like, I don't know. It's hard to... I get it. In certain places, okay. In certain places, not. Like, for instance, so 80s is like, that's 30, almost 37 years ago.
Yeah.
7 years years ago, right? So, okay, call it. How old are you right now?
I'm 34.
34. So, 35 years from now, you're going to be 70.
Right.
Okay. So you'll be 70 years old. Hopefully, still be alive. And if
I plan to live forever.
I'm just saying, if you're still alive at 70 years old, and you find out that a paranormal team investigates Ground Zero in Manhattan, that wouldn't bother you. See, that would bother me, even though it's that many years later.
Right.
That would bother me.
Right. But there are people today that'll go and investigate Pearl Harbor.
Right.
So you're talking the same time difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Pearl Harbor is different than 9/11. 9/11 was a terrorist attack. Pearl Harbor, we were at war, and they attacked a military base.
Right.
They didn't, people try to compare them, and anytime somebody even tries, first off, we're already at war.
Right.
In that country. And, we
weren't at war with them.
There was a world war going on, and they attacked a military base.
Installation, yeah.
Bottom line. September 11th, they attacked civilian areas.
Right.
There's a big difference between the two.
Right.
I don't know if I would do Pearl Harbor. I don't know if I could. I don't know.
I'm just saying the time difference is the same. I understand that the details are different, but it was still a out of left field attack on American soil.
Like, all right, how long ago was the Holocaust? It was back in the what?
You're talking same era, 40s,
30s,
40s, yeah.
Okay. Did you investigate that?
Would I investigate the Holocaust?
Yeah, like the what is it called?
Like the concentration camp sites?
So I would.
I don't know, I probably would.
I don't think I would.
Because
I know I wouldn't, out of respect for the situation.
Right.
I'm not Jewish, but I know if my family was, I know that would be a very touchy subject.
Right.
So it's like, it's the question, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line on what's okay and not okay?
Right.
Like cemeteries. A lot of times we don't do newer cemeteries.
Right.
Because I know I wouldn't care personally, like, if I lost a family member and, it's a freshly dug grave and 2 weeks later there's a paranormal investigating that somebody. I know I personally wouldn't care, but I understand why people would take
care,
full offense to that. So it's kind of like we try to do older cemeteries, But it's a tough one. Where do you draw the line?
Right. There's a cemetery that we do that is old, and it's got a lot of old sites on there, and we investigate. And then we were walking through there during the day this past summer.
Yeah.
And we walked up, and we saw a tombstone. It said 2016.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't even know that they were still putting.
But not knowing that, what we try to do is we try to stay away from it.
Right.
There's a huge cemetery, fairly big.
Oh yeah. Stay away from that area, but
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's definitely a tough situation.
I guess each situation
has its own
guidelines. But
obviously, you can't go into the field saying, "All right, I don't want to offend anybody." Well, then don't do the field because you're going to offend somebody.
Oh yeah.
It's a matter of
somebody's mad watching this right now.
How many? It's a matter of turn it off. Very well, but it's a matter of how many people you offend.
Right.
If it's 1 or 2, man, go fuck yourself. If it's a million people, well, you might want to reconsider.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. No, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
That's just my base guideline.
Yeah. No,
I don't want to investigate anything before I was born.
Sure thing.
Alright, so moving on, we're going to do a quick department spotlight on the tech department, and we're going to jump into our evidence vault and wrap up the show.
Tech department. I would say, I'm not speaking for all paranormal groups out there, but I know for ours, our tech department probably has the most stress. By far, hands down. They have the most stress.
Within the group, you mean?
Within the group, right. Because they're in charge of setting up stationary equipment. They're in charge of doing usually initial EMF and carbon monoxide readings. They're doing an inspection of the house, setting up all the cameras, and then not only doing all that, but then breaking it all down, making sure all the equipment's accounted for, and doing it over and over. And then after that's done, now they got to deal with, however many hours you shot video for. Now they got to go through and watch all of that. So I feel like tech teams out there don't get enough credit. Without a doubt, they just don't. They do a lot of work, and it doesn't seem, some investigations might not seem like it's that bad, but they were quick. They nailed it. But it's tough because they do a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the
Oh, yeah.
beginning all the way to the end, and even after. So, tech department, like I said, our tech department is in charge of a lot of stuff. And
Yeah.
we have a lot of stationary equipment, cameras that they test. So, it's just a lot of stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So that is the tech department, and now we're going to move on to our Lippy Evidence Vault, which is going to be Five Corners Cemetery. So here we're going to play an EVP that we caught at Five Corners Cemetery, and then we'll discuss it and tell you what we think it is saying.
You can, or he can burn it on his computer and give it to you next week.
I can do either or. It's probably better because I'll have a burner, so it's going to eventually have to get burned, and I won't have to take the equipment home. Okay.
So it's right there at the end. Mike, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. Five Corner Cemetery. We were there, just talking, asking questions, and we get a Class A EVP that says, "Help me."
Yeah.
You can play it again.
Yeah, play it from the middle.
I can do either or. It's probably better because I'll have a burner, so it's going to eventually have to get burned, and I won't have to take the equipment home. Okay. I don't mind taking it home to my computer.
Yeah, so that is the EVP. We consider it Class A. When we play it for everybody in the room, everybody can hear the same thing. So it's definitely saying, "Help me." And so that's at Five Corners Cemetery. Again, this is that little small cemetery we were talking about earlier on in the show. And that's what we caught. So, all right. So that's all we have for today. Hope you enjoyed the show, and tune into the next installment when we have more to talk about. And that's it. You can find us on Facebook. On our Facebook page, just go to Facebook and look up Long Island Paranormal Investigators. You can find us on Twitter. Our handle is @LIParanormal. Obviously on our website, www.liparanormalinvestigators.com. And any other social media. I think we have an Instagram out there and stuff like that. So just look up our name and you'll find us. So thank you guys again. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time. Take care.